Hello everyone, greetings from Helsinki. My name is Petteri Kivima and I'm the CTO of NIS. Today I'm going to tell you a little bit about our development roadmap. So we are going to have a look what has happened since the last community event, what's going on right now, and what we are going to do next year. So you could consider this as an annual stand-up with you. But before going to the development roadmap, let's have a look at the X-Road product vision. So after all, the product vision is what is guiding us in our activities and how we are developing X-Road. So this sets kind of the framework in which we are working and how X-Road is being developed. Okay, so this is the development roadmap for this year and next year. As you can see, earlier this year we have released one X-Road version, which is X-Road 6.26. And even if that version didn't include any major technical changes, it's a remarkable release in a couple of ways at least. So first of all, if you look at the roadmap, the next version that we are going to release is X-Road 7.0 later this year. And it means that X-Road 6.26 is actually the last X-Road 6 release that we are going to publish, at least the last planned one. And from now on, we are going to fully concentrate on X-Road 7. And actually, we have been doing so already since the end of last year. Yeah, in practice, it means that we are moving towards the version 7, and next year we are going to release two more X-Road 7 releases, 7.1 and 7.2. And our current support policy is that we support the last and two previous X-Road releases. That means that when we are going to release X-Road 7.2 next year, X-Road 6 will no longer be supported. So it means that approximately there is around 1 year time to migrate from X-Road 6 to X-Road 7. And I know that some of you might have some troubling memories regarding X-Road version upgrades when it comes to major versions. But fortunately, this time is different. So X-Road 7 will be fully compatible, backward compatible with X-Road 6 on interface level. It means that when you migrate from X-Road 6 to version 6 to version 7, no changes are needed to the information systems that are connected to X-Road. So service consumers, service producers, no changes needed on their side. Some changes are needed on the security server configuration, depending on how the security server is configured. But still, we are talking about some minor things, and of course, guidance and instructions will be provided how to do those. So when we think about the amount of work, the effort, the complexity of the upgrade, it's more like upgrading from X-Road 6.25 to 6.26 rather than doing a major version upgrade like the one from X-Road 5 to X-Road 6. So therefore, if you are worried about the upgrade because of the past, please don't be. It should be pretty straightforward. And when it comes to X-Road 7, it will be developed using agile development methods iteratively. And it means that not all the cool stuff that we have been talking about during the last year and that we will talk about during the next year or next years, it won't be there available immediately, but it will be implemented in phases, step by step, one step at a time. And therefore, if you have heard about some new features and they are not yet available in the X-Road 7.0 release, the reason is that they will be there probably later. And of course, the idea of agile development is that the development roadmap prioritization, it's not set in stone. It may change, and of course, based on the needs of the NIS members, based on the needs of the X-Road community, based on your needs, it will be developed and further modified while we are going on. And when it comes to the areas of development, we have 6 high-level focus areas. And the development will concentrate on around those areas. And in general, if we think about the basis for X-Road 7, X-Road 7 is more like an evolution rather than revolution, because X-Road 7 is based on the X-Road 6. We have taken the good from X-Road 6 and tried to get rid of the bad and the ugly. And our idea has been to build on the good and make it even better and stronger that it is now. So X-Road 6, it was originally released in 2015. It has been in production use for 6 years. It's secure, scalable, reliable. We have kept all those good qualities and of course brought new qualities that make the existing ones even stronger. And these are the 6 high-level focus areas where we'll concentrate on. And then more about the first X-Road 7 release, X-Road 7.0, and what's new in it. First of all, X-Road 7.0, it will concentrate on the security server. Security server will be the star of the release. Most of the changes are implemented on it. Of course, there will be some minor changes on the central server side too, but nothing really big. Most of the changes are on the security server. First of all, we have new visual style on the UI on the security server. The UI that we implemented last year in 6.24 version, it has been upgraded to the new version 7 visual style guide. Then we have several security-related enhancements. First of all, related to backups. X-Road 7.0 will support backup encryption, and also the integrity of the backups will be always verified, which guarantees that the backups they only contain data that they should contain, and it cannot do any harm on the security server when you restore it. And the encryption feature, it is opt-in, meaning that by default it is disabled, and anyone who wishes to use it can enable it. But the integrity verification, on the other hand, it is always enforced. Then it will be possible to change the PIN code of the soft token on the security server. So until now, you define the PIN code of the soft token when you initialize the security server, and well, there's no way to change it. Starting from version 7.0, it is possible to change the PIN code using the UI or the security server REST management API. Another important change is related to modularity. It is possible to install the security server without a local PostgreSQL server. So security server has already been supporting for a while an external database. So if, for example, if you want to use some hosted database service on a cloud, like on AWS, Google Cloud, Azure, whatever cloud service you use, then you don't actually need to run a local PostgreSQL on the security server. But until now, there was no way to uninstall it. But starting from the version 7.0, it's possible to install the security server without it, which of course improves the performance and makes the installation faster. Then there are some minor improvements in the diagnostics view on the security server. We have several changes related to message logging. So we have improved the security of the message logs. X-Road has always been very secure when it comes to data in transit. But in the version 7.0 release, we are also improving the protecting the data at rest. And when it comes to message logs, in practice, it means that it will be supported to encrypt the message log database, or not the whole database, but the part of the message that potentially may contain confidential data. Also, it is possible to encrypt the security server message log archive files. And well, not directly related to encryption, but I think security and to GDPR definitely is the message log archive grouping. Until now, all the message log archive files, they've been stored in a single file, and there are cases where the same security server is shared by multiple different organizations that may have different kind of requirements for their logs, also different information systems that use different subsystems. They may have different requirements, different retention periods, and so on. Until now, all those logs, they have been dumped into the same archive file. But starting from version 7, it will be possible to group the archive files by member or by subsystem. And it means that when you have a security server that is shared by multiple different organizations, it's very easy to group the message log archive files by members. And then different kind of requirements regarding storing of the logs can be handled more easily. And more importantly, also the encryption of the archive files, it can be applied by members. So it is possible to configure an encryption key for each member, and then the archive files are encrypted using the key of that particular member. And then also, in general, when it comes to message logging, we've made different options how it can be configured, more flexible, and we have also provided better documentation regarding different alternatives. Starting from version 7, there are 3 alternatives for message logging: full logging, metadata logging, or logging disabled. And every user is allowed to choose which one to use. But of course, in that case, the users also should remember what kind of requirements come from the X-Road operator in different countries. There may be rules, regulations, and policies that require certain kind of logging, and then in that case, those rules, of course, have to be respected. Production level Docker support is also coming together with version 7. When we release version 7.0 later this year, we are going to release it for Red Hat 7 and 8, Ubuntu 18 and 20, and for Docker. Then there is a bunch of other enhancements and bug fixes. I'm not going to go them through right now, but we are going to release a release notes document and a migration guide before the actual release. All those things, they will be documented there. And then next year will be the year of the central server. Next year, the central server will have a new user interface and a new management REST API, just like the security server earlier. And here is a little taster how the new central server will look like. Thank you for listening. I think it's time for questions now.
Petteri, wow, what an overview. Thanks a lot. And also, ciao from Tallinn. I will look at the screen so I can see you. You hear me and you see me well, right?
Yes, I can see you and hear you well. Hello.
Perfect. So we can get right away actually into the questions, because we got about like 3-4 questions that we can address fairly quickly, but that actually put even like more focus, let's say, not just on the technical aspects, but also on the community development, let's say, that can happen, or better, the development that can be done by the community. And this is already one of the questions, Petteri. So, for example, how can the X-Road community participate, let's say, in the development of X-Road 7, and can it do that?
Yeah, it certainly can. So there are several ways how the community can participate in the development. Of course, the community can submit enhancement requests, new ideas regarding new features, provide feedback about new releases, and most importantly, make source code contributions. Our backlog, it's publicly accessible to anyone. You just have to register first, but anyone can do it. We have a very long list of items there waiting to be implemented. If you are interested in contributing, you can browse through the backlog, contact us and suggest that, hey, I'd like to implement this item, is it okay? Or if you feel that you want to contribute, but you're not sure what would be the right task to get started. So also in that case, just contact us, and I'm sure we are able to figure out the right task for you.
And since we were talking about the release of like X-Road 7, then there is a very upvoted question that I can see on the Worksup platform is exactly, is there any problem, or like does anything happen if, for example, we don't migrate from X-Road 6 to X-Road 7 before X-Road 6 reaches its sort of like end of life, let's say? Does anything happen in that case?
Well, no, nothing will explode and nothing will stop working on the date when X-Road 7.2 will be released. But of course, if we think about the security aspect, so as long as X-Road 6.26 is supported, if there is a, let's say, a major vulnerability in one of the dependencies that X-Road is using, it means that we are able to do a fix and release a patch version for X-Road 6.26. After X-Road 7.2 is released and 6.26 is no longer supported, and the same thing happens, then no fix is released anymore. And the security servers, of course, depending on the nature of the vulnerability, they may be vulnerable to different kind of security threats. And also, one thing that is important to remember is that it is actually easier and it requires less work if you do the migration always when the new version is released. Because, like I said, we support the last and 2 previous versions. And when it comes to version migrations, we also do testing that it can be successfully done between those versions. But if you are migrating from an older version, nothing is guaranteed. And what I didn't mention during the slides, X-Road 7 actually contains a mechanism that prevents that kind of a migration. So it's in X-Road 7, it's only possible to migrate between the supported versions. And to be able to migrate from version 6 to version 7, you first have to be running 6.26. It's not possible to migrate from versions earlier than that.
Petteri, I also have a couple of questions here that I think can be coupled, actually, and can be put together. For example, one says, what security measures do you plan to implement in the future? And another one is actually related to something that might be already in X-Road 7, which is there going to be any, like a blockchain type of feature, let's say, in X-Road 7? I think we can put those two questions together and maybe like address them at the same time.
Yeah, that's fine for me. So when it comes to the security-related features, like you saw, we already are going to introduce many security-related features on X-Road 7.0. But then also in the upcoming versions, there will be probably enhancements to those features. For example, how they can be configured, probably also some checks regarding what is the strength of the encryption keys that are used, and also some updates probably to some algorithms that are currently used by X-Road. So yeah, there will be security-related improvements also in the future. And regarding blockchain, currently, X-Road doesn't use blockchain for anything, and we are not directly planning to include blockchain in X-Road. But of course, when we design new features for X-Road 7, if there is a security-related or any related feature, and blockchain is the best alternative to implement it, then we probably use blockchain for it. But we are not going to use blockchain just for, well, using blockchain, so that we can say that, hey, we are using blockchain. But definitely, if it's the best technology, if it's the best tool for something that we can do, then definitely we will consider it.
Good. Then this is a good takeaway, like not using certain technologies or like certain innovations just for the sake of, but for what actually makes sense to the development of the platform. And Petteri, at this point, I would put you on hold for like just 1 minute, because I want to, if we have it available, I want to go and take a look at the word cloud and the answers that the audience has given to the question that I asked just before Petteri's presentation, which is, what are 3 words that, in your opinion, describe X-Road? So we can get an idea of what the viewers associate with the X-Road technology. And maybe we can take a look at the word cloud. And yes, we have it here. And oh, wow, 19 words. Okay, that's a great response. So let's see if, for example, security was one of, yes, secure is also one of those, definitely. Cross-border, that is something that probably briefly, like along the way today, we'll also get to address. Global, digital, innovative. There's a unicorn also with a unicorn emoji. Like, okay, yeah, makes sense in a way. If it's associated with it, apparently there is a connection. Interoperability, of course, because X-Road, that's what it enables. And not just interoperability, indeed, like as the representative from the Faroe Island was saying, during the introductory video, not just between agencies and information systems within the country, but also indeed in an international and cross-border way. Agile, purple, I think, yes, maybe that's more associated with the X-Road community event than with X-Road itself. But we also have international, enabler, P2P, yes, very interesting. Community, of course, community.